Please welcome our Onondaga County Executive, Ryan McMahon. Morning,
Sure.
Ryan.
Good morning. Yeah, thank you. It was good to see everybody again. I was honored that you had me at your swearing in function for all the directors and the presidents, and certainly wanted to again congratulate Don and Mark for your Lifetime Achievement Awards. Very much well deserved. But it's been busy. I'm trying to think last time we got together. I don't know if it was 30 days ago or 60 days ago. But the things have been really busy. So just to give everybody kind of an update on really some important things, the federal CHIPS grants for the semiconductor companies essentially have been being negotiated for about 2 months with U.S. Commerce, and it's our belief that the awards have been negotiated. And that what we'll see now is that the White House will probably stagger out announcements going into the State of the Union address, and that the president will likely talk about this at the State of the Union address. So I can tell you that via the work that we do every day with Micron, the award that they received was likely sufficient to help offset the cost of doing these projects in Asia. So I don't know the number. They might not ever tell us the number, what it is, but it's likely, billions of, it's definitely at least 3 billion, because that's what they were entitled to for the project. But it's likely much higher than that, probably double that number, if not maybe even higher. The other major projects in clusters in the country are Intel in Ohio, TSMC in Phoenix, and then Samsung in Texas. Certainly Texas Instruments, which is more of a legacy semiconductor provider, will get support in Texas as well. You'll likely see Global Foundries in the Capital District here. If they get the type of support they need, they'll probably have an expansion as well, which will be very good for New York as well. So that's exciting, right? So any major construction project, the first part of that is the environmental reviews, right? It's called the seeker in the state of New York, a very cumbersome review. And then because the federal government is giving cash, there is a federal environmental review called NEPA. Once the awards are made, everything's official. The federal agency, and this is important to all the timeline, the federal agency that handles NEPA will be designated. That could be the Army Corps of Engineers. It could be the Department of Commerce, which would probably be better. So that gives us somebody to work with. The reality is the state environmental review is more cumbersome and difficult than the federal review. So quite frankly, we really shouldn't even need a federal review, because in New York, ours is so challenging. And we've been at this for a while. White Pine had what was called a generic environmental impact statement done. So we already studied a hypothetical project. We studied essentially the Intel project. We thought we were going to win that project. And so we did all the work based off of that. What are the environmental reviews? What do you do for wetland mitigation? What would you do for traffic, right? And so we have, kind of like a 75% document that's been completed going into certainly 2024. And so now we've been taking Micron's specifics and building off that. So our review should be completed on the aggressive side, July, August. On the conservative side, September. The challenge now is we need to get the federal review to at least get 2024 completion. We have this little bat called the Indiana bat. This damn thing causes lots of problems, and we have it in our county. And so that means there's only a 6-month window per year that we can actually take down trees. So if we can get these reviews done this year, we'll be able to take down the trees and the clearing of the site in 2024, which then will position us for full-blown construction in the spring of 25. In addition to that, Micron's construction team, project team has grown. I met with them this week. They've hired 3 individuals from across the country. They brought in some of their talent who helped build expansions in Singapore and in Taiwan. These are individuals who are from those countries, all working on this project now. And they interviewed construction companies for the last 2 weeks here in Syracuse on the design of the fab, and then on the construction management of the fab. And there is even a probability that they may split up the major construction project in a way where someone is doing the daycare center, someone is doing the administrative buildings, and someone's doing the fabs, right? So you could see two major worldwide construction companies planting their flag here, and then they work with the subs from there. Think of major construction companies we have in upstate New York. Those in a project like this, they're like a sub. They couldn't ever do this type of work. The types of companies we're talking about are Excite, Turner, maybe Whiting Turner, Bechtel, Hewitt, and Gilbane certainly has the wherewithal to participate as well. So those are the types of companies. I've been talking to them. Certainly, I think if one or two of those lands this project, they're not going to just commit to this project. They're going to commit to bringing a slew of employees here and really planting their flag here. So we're excited about that. Supply chain. I don't think I talked to you since last, but we went to Semi ISS, which is the industry profession conference for the semiconductor folks out in Half Moon Bay, California. I think I did that in January. It was great. You basically learn the trends in the industry, the challenges in the industry, but you have all the players there. And so certainly, I've been going to this conference for 3 or 4 years. Nobody would even talk to me 4 years ago. I couldn't even buy them dinner. But now they all want to talk to you. And so it's good. A lot of different companies that weren't even on our radar, smaller scale supply chain companies that we now are talking to. I think 24 is going to be a year where these relationships start to get cemented, and then they start making their necessary investments in 25 so that they're ready in 26. The other thing that we are doing is I'm leading an international delegation. I was invited to Taiwan by the Ambassador General. Taiwan is, essentially the nation that dominates semiconductor industry. Why this is all really happening with the CHIPS Act is because China believes that Taiwan is part of China, and Taiwan believes that they are actually the Republic of China, the democracy of China. And so there's real international challenges with these two countries. But Micron has a huge presence there, and there's a lot of key supply chain partners. So they have an international smart city conference, the world's leading smart city conference. So I'll lead a delegation of local leaders. Mayor Walsh will join me as well. We're going to go there and really tell our story, but also really look to see ways that we can incorporate some of the smart city technology back in our community. But at the same time, I have some pretty high level meetings with Taiwan supply chain partners potentially coming here as well. So we're excited about that. Related to housing, right? We have right now, before our county IDA, some changes to our UTEP policy. What a UTEP is, it's your uniform tax exempt policy. And your UTEPs are guidance, roadmaps for your board to consider related to incentives. And so one of the things that we know we have in front of us as we're waiting for our countywide housing study to be complete is we know that we probably need, somewhere near 10,000 units in a period of time, and that will keep us in the game. So then we can more strategically, work to make good projects happen, right? Center-driven projects, all the above housing, inventory. Some of these communities aren't going to be ready right away. So 10,000 units is a lot of units, but we really do have some massive center-driven projects that can help us get there quickly. And so one of the things that are challenges for us with the price points that you're seeing with your own listings, but also many of you I know are picking up rental listings, is rents are high. And rents are really high for really bad housing, quite frankly. And so the reality is we do need to stabilize that inventory, or else people who go to work every day in my organization and other organizations, many realtors, quite frankly, won't be able to afford to live in this community and take advantage of the economics that are happening. So we need what we call workforce housing, right? These are folks that make $60,000, $70,000 a year. Family of four, 90,000, 100,000. And we're willing to incentivize some of our multi-use projects if they're going to bring slots to the table. The other thing that we need desperately is senior communities to be built. And we're going to incentivize with pilots for senior communities to be built. That's going to free up existing inventory for buyers. Um, with the dynamics now, the single family construction boom is not going to happen for 2 or 3 years. And so until all these engineers start getting hired and everybody starts moving in, right? So we got to free up inventory. Seniors can cash out right now, make a lot of money on their sale. They have nowhere to live. So we're changing our pilot for that. Some of the towns are giving us shit, but whatever. We got a job to do, and we're going to do it. So in addition to that, we have our OCHIP program, which is grants for housing projects that are essentially stalled. All the above, right? We'll look at anything. It's got to make sense. It's going really well, really, really well. We're going to have 2 more announcements going on in the next few weeks about more projects at the state of the county on March 14th. I will give an overview on all the units that this program has helped drive, all the investment, but it's working. We asked the legislature for more money, and they gave us $5 million for senior communities, so grants for senior housing to be developed, $5 million for infrastructure. We're kind of looking at that project. We might be able to tap into that for some of our center projects, town center projects, but also I'm very interested to work with builders who are looking outside, thinking outside the box, right? What infill building opportunities do we have where we can build new single family skinny homes, or new townhouses, or new 2-family homes, where that could be owner occupied, right? These are things that ways that we can maybe bring price points down a little bit for affordability. And we're willing to, if builders are willing to work with us and get creative, we're willing to use those infrastructure dollars to help offset some of those infrastructure costs for them. So we do think there's a way for builders to get in the game earlier here to help deal with market needs with that money. And I'm willing to go back and ask for more to the legislature. We're going to close out our year with another historic year, managing our funds, growing the economy, and we'll have another large surplus this year when the books get closed in about a month. So we're at the point now when we have surpluses, we're going to reinvest those dollars back in the community. Our rainy day fund is very high. The bond rating agencies love it being high, but we don't need to pad that anymore. We'll reinvest, in housing, something that we need to continue to reinvest in. So those are some updates related to that. I'll give you other county-wide update on a couple other things. The aquarium project, we're starting to dive piles, in the next few weeks here. The design is essentially done. Our GC bids are going out, and I'll have great marketing material on the designs to show the community here. It's really, I think it's really solid. I think the team's done a great job. We went out to Kansas City. I didn't go out, but my team did, to see. That's the newest aquarium in the country. My team promised me that our aquarium is better than their aquarium. And so that's if they told me it wasn't, there would be hell to pay. So it's going great. The Inner Harbor, I think, is really going to blow up here soon. Every national entity that comes in, we show them that. I think it's just going to be unbelievable what happens there. I think a brand new neighborhood is going to be built. Everybody's going to want to live there. So that's project's going good. The countywide STEAM school. Again, we had a ribbon cutting there with all of our partners that helped make that possible at the old Greystone building, Central Tech. Construction started there. Our full GC bid package, we got windows out, we got roof out. The full GC bid package again is going out shortly here. So we'll have the contractor on that. Design's already essentially done on that as well. So those are two major projects going on. I don't know if you've been downtown, the Tech Garden renovation and expansion, something that we help fund at the county as well. That's going to be a key part of our convention center district. That you should drive down Harrison if you haven't. It's unbelievable. So that's going to go up soon. They're taking down now, but it's going to start going up soon. It's going to be great. We've made to the convention center, we've made about $7 million of improvements. The rooms really look nice. Eventually we're going to have to look at modernizing that facility, expanding that facility for the market that we've all helped create to meet the opportunities. But right now it needed some energy, and it's got it. So a lot of good things going on. Happy to take questions on those topics or any others.
Okay, anything in the chat? I think Christine, are you going to check?
Yes, ma'am. I have no questions. I have a comment.
Okay.
Ryan, thanks for my lower county tax bill.
Yes. So we cut your county tax rate 15% countywide. You're realtors, so you get this. I get yelled at by people though. Ryan, you said 15%, but my bill only went down 11. Well, it's your town where you live, it's still proportionate to the levy they contribute to the countywide. And then if your town raised their levy, right? That could have gone up and eaten some of your savings, but 15%, you should have felt a cut in your county tax bill. Even if your town's proportionate to the levy doesn't work out with that 15. Some towns actually got higher, some got a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm. Ryan, when you have some of the companies coming from out of town, the large developers, is there a way where if they want to build apartments, once again, I'm going on the condo, but now I've got the co-op kick in my mind. So, I'm just wondering if they do build these apartments, that within a few years, maybe they can be converted to an apartment that can be sold as a co-op or a condominium. I think if you plant the seed ahead of time for these developers, maybe they can build it so after a history of rentals, it's easier to convert. You've got some money to put towards the offering plan. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think actually, Nance, I think we might even have a couple projects that we're going to support through OCHIP in that realm. And that's one of the things that in a separate pot of money, we've encouraged projects. We've also geographically, we're reserving some of our funds for villages just because we think there's real opportunities there to do lots of things. We've really helped out the city of Syracuse with OCHIP, get a lot of projects going that were stalled, and we're really happy for that. But we do think that these villages really have a ton of potential to do housing projects, reconvert old buildings into new buildings, just like it happened in some city neighborhoods, right? Think about some of these schools in city neighborhoods. St. Pat's old school, right? Great housing project now. There's old buildings like that throughout these villages, they have that old architecture too, that they can take advantage of this as well. But I hear you on that. I hear you on the condos and the clubs.
Thank you. Christine, any questions?
Yes, ma'am. Another comment. Great to hear about senior housing focus. Any incentives being offered?
Yeah, we have cash and the pilot, right, for for these communities. So I don't know what else you can do, right? You know, so that's the whoever gets this right is going to make a ton of money too, by the way. You know, you got to price point these things where you know, it's still affordable, you know, but you know, many seniors that I communicate with, empty nesters, want to sell. They can actually go and afford market rate options, but not all the market rate options have the specific amenities for them. And so I think it's a winner. So you know, again, we have pilot agreements that are now, it's going to be in our code, so it's not like you need exemptions when it goes to the board. And then certainly cash options to help with these projects.
Mm-hmm.
For developers or the builders, and how can you encourage the town to approve this type of housing?
So usually, look, we're gonna see, you know, we're gonna see some things soon, right? I mean, because this year's all about execution, right? So the next 24 months are about execution, right? We talked a lot, we won a lot, we planned a lot. Now we got to execute, and so I'm working my butt off getting people to actually look to come and invest and do these things. You know, you where you got land, you're going to get a lot of these projects. Some of these projects will be able to, you know, do them in natural centers, but you know, there's going to be, you know, out of the ordinary housing options compared to what the demand's been here locally. You all know this. The demand has been, you know, market rate downtown, single family neighborhoods, right? You know, school districts drive suburban growth. And so that demand to a degree has changed already. But for the folks that are going to be coming into the community, moving here, they're going to want different things, right? They're, you know, engineers at Micron might be here for 2 or 3 years, and they might be going to Singapore or Taiwan or Boise, right? They're, you know, they some of them may not want to own a home. They may want a great market rate option or a mixed use option in a downtown, in a harbor, in a hamlet, you know, on the water, right? So there's all these different things, you know, that we didn't have that demand before. We're going to have it now. So we got to think about demand for our folks here today, because we have challenges today, but also for the people that are going to be here and that we need to attract for all this to work. So some towns, we're gonna, what's key is we got to get wins. Okay. So we get some wins, and then that gives us time. And then we through our planning and our teamwork, we do some really cool harder projects, right? That nobody can say is, you know, stuff in the villages, stuff in hamlets, right? You know, I think the idea that 10,000 apartments just going up in one town you know, scaring people, right? And they should be scared. You know, that's a challenge. So I think that I see 6 projects, big projects, that we got to get done. And if we get these done, that's going to give us breathing room to let all of our planning efforts really get implemented in a thoughtful way that won't scare municipalities. Great Northern, Shopping Town, Lakeshore Village, Inner Harbor, Blueprint 15, 15th Ward in the South Side, and then the developmental center that Walsh has got going in Tip Hill.
Yep.
So
Yep.
those are 6 center-driven projects where we can create very high density to help us bring these types of units online that don't at all diminish the character of existing neighborhoods, right? Just enhances, right? And so that gives us time to go figure out, all right, we're going to do 20 units and convert this property. We're going to go build 10 new houses on this site in this village. We're going to now strategically build 100 new homes in this site and within our existing infrastructure, right? That gives you time, you know, to get to our housing crunch right away.
Who are some of the large developers that are considering coming in?
Yeah, I mean, look, think of the large, I would say the larger ones are the companies that do kind of multi-unit nationally. We haven't seen the single family massive developers come in and say, we're going to do 5,000 houses over here. But the hedge funds, investment banks, all looking to get involved.
Okay, we might have time for one or two more. Any rentals coming online with 3 or more bedrooms? It seems most of the new rentals are smaller.
They are. I think they will, right? But it will be the math on those is a little bit harder to work with your price points that you can get. But you'll see those, I think, certain numbers in each project. Look, I think the new one coming on out by me, Trey J. Loso, I think they got 3 bedrooms in those. Those are nice, right on the water.
Is there a list of county-owned land available for housing that we can get?
That's a good question. I don't believe we have one. I think our risk management team is working on one. And one of the things that we are looking at is strategically, how do we divest from ownership in some of these opportunities? Because we own a lot of land randomly throughout the community, and we don't need to. A lot of it can go on the tax rolls. So our risk management team's looking at that, but I don't believe they have a list today. But certainly once that's done, we'll be sellers.
Okay, one more. I was looking forward to the Sheraton/Holiday Inn on Electronics in 7th North senior housing, and I read that isn't happening. Also, your thoughts on 2 lanes to 1 lane merging 5-car pileup on the Parkway last week.
Um,
Kind of
well,
random.
well, I listen. I think all car accidents are bad. The Parkway, we're doing a big project on Old Liverpool Road, which is going to help take traffic off the Parkway. Part of the problem on the Parkway, why we see accidents, outside of the bridge, right? The bridge, which always wins when it's tested. It's dangerous, right? And it's dangerous because you have 4 lanes. So the way that you prevent some of that is you actually do what is being proposed. You change that and you slow down the traffic by going to 1 lane each way, or 2 lanes one way, one lane the other way. Some people might say, well, geez, that's how I get to work. That's traffic. Well, I get it. But it's not safe. And so, and for us to do the things we want to do around the lake too, we really need that pattern of traffic to change. So that's going to change. Old Liverpool Road is going to eat up some of that. There's a lot of things going on in the way traffic moves in this community. And remember, you have 81, but in addition to that, you have the environmental review with Micron is going to tell us what exactly we need to do related to traffic. And that's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars of investment. So we know we're going to do things on 31. We know we're going to do things on 11, but we're going to have to do something else on 81 or 481. Over the course of time, you don't just do it all at once. But that's going to help. Once it's all done, you're going to have new traffic patterns throughout the community and new options. So that was that part of the question. What was the other part of the question?
I was looking forward to the Sheraton.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so was I. I don't really know why it fell apart. The other thing that type of project's kind of what we're talking about related to senior communities. Maybe maybe a little bit more comprehensive, but it's good, kind of a good comparable. But the reality is we do need hotels in a bad way, and I wouldn't mind seeing that property be a hotel. It's a great property for that. And if you ask me one thing that we're way behind on, we're working hard to catch up. It is hotel rooms. When we have busy weekends, we have people staying in Utica, which is a nightmare for keeping convention business. So we need more hotel rooms quickly. We're working really hard at that. But I was excited for that project as well. I don't know why it blew up.
Mm-hmm.
That's all the questions I have. Oh, wait, one more. Good news. I received 2 families moving to Central New York this last week because of Micron. One, a transfer from a 10-year Micron employee in Virginia to attend OCC this summer. for a promotion, and another doctor relocating to Syracuse now because of Micron buying $1 to $2 million range.
Look at, we said it was going to happen. So
It's happening.
yeah, it's happening. Yeah. And I think the other thing too, just, you know, small wins, right? So when we talk about supply chain and investments, I mean, we had a good company locally, PPC, you know, they're moving a line of manufacturing here from the UK. $8 million investment. You know, we're not going to, you know, get home runs every time at the plate. That's a great single. It's going to bring more jobs and secure more jobs here, right? So those things aren't, you know, these companies don't do that unless they think there's going to be a workforce they can grow with and a community they can grow with.